Okay, welcome back. Part 2 of our video series here. We're going to discuss the difference between plywood and lumber. Lumber is a board all the way through. You've got your face, your edge, your end, and you see the end here. Well, this would be a better example. See the end here? It goes all the way through. Now, plywood looks to be relatively the same thing. The faces are going to be the same, but when we look at the edge and end of the board, we can see that there's plies on there. Plywood is going to be a little bit cheaper because all we need is the good wood to be up on top and then just scrap wood in between. Plywood is also referred to as sheet stock. There are 3 different types of plywoods. There's veneer core. Let's start over again. There's fiber core, veneer core, and lumber core. Fiber core is made out of this MDF board. MDF board is basically, well, it's medium density fiber board. It's just thick paper. Relatively inexpensive. The problem with it is it creates a lot of dust and it's really heavy and it's hard to work with. Lumber core is your best, but it costs too much. We are going to be using veneer core in here. It's kind of the universal one and it works the best. Okay? Good. Also, the key to this whole thing, how to square a board. When we're talking about lumber, the first thing you have to do is you have to identify, is it lumber or is it plywood? If it's lumber, it's a 4-step process. It goes edge, edge, end, and end. Plywood or sheet stock is a little bit simpler. It goes edge, end. So if we look at this board, the annual rings here is the end of the board. The cross section of it running with the grain is the edge, and this is our face. That's basically it for that part. Measuring a board, also very important. We're going to need this for our bill of material list and building of a project. Anytime we measure a piece of lumber or plywood, we always measure thickness by width by length. Thickness is the height of the annual rings. We talked about that before. That's the end of the board, the circles on the board. Width is across the grain. And length is with the grain. Why is that important? Well, I have a little demonstration over here. I've got these 4 pieces of wood. They all came from the same tree, all from the same board. If I take this piece here, I put it in between here, I can step on it, I can jump on it, I can try to break it, it's not going to break. I take the same piece of wood here, and using my vast karate skills, I'm going to take this board here, and I'm going to snap it in half. Now again, seems pretty strong. I was able to break that board fairly easy. Matter of fact, I can put it into a vise and give it a pop, and it goes pretty easy. Put this board in here, give it a pop, put this board in here. Doesn't want to break. I told you already, it's the exact same board. So what in the world is causing all the problems? Well, it's not my karate skills. If we take a look at this board, we'll see how the wood grain is running in this direction. So if we were going to measure this board, we would say that the thickness is 3/4. Our rule is the width is across the grain, so it's 3 inches wide. The length is 16 inches. No big deal, right? Well, here's the issue. If we follow the same rule with this board, here's my annual rings. The thickness is 3/4. The width is running the grain's running this way, so the width is 16 and the length is 3. So when we're working with lumber, we've got to know the grain direction. When you watch a guy break a board in karate, it always snaps clean. That's because they're chopping it with the grain. Again, if I put this board in here, I could hit this as hard as I wanted to. The only thing that's going to break are the bones in my hand. If I put this board in here, it breaks quite easily. Plywood, you won't see karate guys breaking plywood because grain direction does not matter. And you're not going to see me breaking it today either.